Ah, shit. Weekend video? Pirate fucking flag. That's right. We're talking YouTube shit. Well, half YouTube shit. Because I got questions. Sometimes you guys got answers. Figure it out. And another thing is just going to kind of be some philosophizing. Just out loud about life. First, YouTube shit, right? Alright. I get it when it's on Facebook. You get a message from an account that's got a picture of a girl. And if you go to her page, there's a bunch of other pictures of the same girl. And she's got a whole bunch of friends. And she's got one fucking post. You know. And you can tell when you got the blackmail scammers on Facebook. It's easy. And they get these pictures of these girls just off the fucking internet. They just Google teenage fucking girls and they just find the same pictures of the same girl. Or they go to other girls' fucking Facebook pages and rip their fucking pictures off the Facebook page and put it up on their fucking page. And just random names. My name is Annabelle Sinclair. Doesn't fucking matter. So they just come up with a random name and then they start chatting with you in the chat. And then they try to get you to say something or do something weird and uncomfortable, right? They try to get you to sex with them. And then they threaten you. They say, this is going to go up on YouTube if you don't do what I say. I had this happen to me. Because I decided one day I was going to fuck with one of them. And I actually had them get to the point of threatening. And by the way, my response was, send me the link, my audience will love it. Because I knew I was fucking with her the whole time. I wasn't really serious with any of it. So, but they get these guys to get them serious, and then they'll get them to pay money to not embarrass them. It's a blackmail thing. YouTube, however, is different. There's some weird shit going on with YouTube. And I don't know what it is. And most YouTubers, I would imagine, have no idea it's even happening. Because it's happening in the comment section. You guys live in the comment section. I also live with you in the comment section, at least of my channel. Right? I answer all the comments. In some way or another, I try to. So, I see the same things you guys see. And I was seeing, you know, every once in a while I would get a message from somebody that would be like, great video, can we be friends? And I'm like, well, this could be anything from just a guy being goofy to a semi-retarded person who wants a new friend to a totally retarded person who just wants a new friend. So I'm like, alright, well, sure, we can be friends, cool, glad you liked the video. Right? I answered it. Because that's what I do. And then in the next video, I'd see, great video, can we be friends? It's the same person. And I'm like, and I began to catch on that this is somehow like a thing. And I'm looking at it like, okay, so like somebody's botting my channel with, essentially somebody's botting my channel with comments. They're not watching the video, they're not paying attention to anything I'm fucking saying. They don't give a shit, they're just commenting on the video. And I'm like trying to think of what's their upside to that. Like I just start blocking them now because I'm like, I don't know what's going on and I don't give a shit. But like seriously, what the fuck is the upside for them? Am I like supposed to go to their channel and watch their videos and then like go, you should all go watch this person's videos? Because they don't upload videos generally. Like I know the ones where it's like hot teens and then there's a link to an obvious porn site that's got hot teens in the address. I know what that is. They're looking for people to go to their fucking either softcore or hardcore porn site. I'm not allowed to have that shit in the comment section. I'm not allowed to have that shit in my fucking descriptions. I'm not allowed to have that shit in my videos. Piper Blush is kind of an idiot because it's in our agreement. We're not allowed to do that shit. If you actually read the thing before you just click I agree, Like, there's a lot of shit in there that's actually quite interesting to know. So, I know I'm not allowed to have that shit. So, every time I see those, I'm like, delete! And I get rid of them as soon as humanly possible. Because I'm like, no, can't have that shit, right? I'm not allowed. So, but like, this stuff, you know, I get what's going on with that. They're trying to lead people to a place so that they can then get that viewership, right? I get that. But I don't get the, hey, can we be friends? Like, I don't understand that. I don't know what's going on with that. I went to the fucking channel and I'm like, you don't have anything uploaded. Like, I'm like, what is the fucking point? Like, if I was leaving just obnoxious bot-looking fucking comments on other people's videos and then they were coming to my channel and then they were seeing, oh, this dude has like an actual channel, why is he wasting his time doing bot whatever. You know, like if it was a thing like that, but most YouTubers don't really, I mean, they read their comments, they'll skim them, but they don't answer them, and they don't read them that in-depthly, and they don't, you know, certainly fuck around with that kind of shit. So, what's the upside? Like, you trying to get people in the comments to go to your, because the people in the comments could care fucking less about that kind of innocuous shit. They want to find something that's either going to piss them off or that's going to agree with them. That's what they're looking for in the comments. So, great video, can we be friends? That is not going to get other people to, like, what the fuck is the upside to that? Why do it? I don't understand. And then I start getting another type of odd comment. It was from a girl. I could tell it was a girl. It's a picture of a girl. Nameless girl. Girl. And she would put a timestamp from my video. And then put like, awesome, you know, or exciting, swell, you know, just expletives, you know, like just, She would just put that shit, not expletives, exclamations. Not expletives. Jesus fucking Christ. As an example. So it was a bunch of that, and that's all it was. And so, you know, like I'm a goofy person, so I'm like, well, that actually seems like a comment. Like, it's not, it doesn't, I don't know what's going on. Like, how do you bot that? I don't know. So it seems like this is a girl who's actually commenting about what I'm saying in the videos. And I would click on the timestamp to see where in the video what she's making the statement about. And it would always be appropriate. It would be like, you know, I would be talking about how I was getting good sleep. And she would put that timestamp and swell, you know. And I'm like, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll answer this realistically. But I'm like, I don't really have anything to go on. So I'm kind of like, so I would just put, like, you know, emojis. Because I'm like, I would just try to make the emoji version of what she said. That's kind of the game that I play with this person. But the other night, I was just kind of fucking around, and I was bored, and I was just kind of looking at shit. And so I was answering comments, and I see another comment from her. And I'm like, so I look at her channel. I do that periodically with you guys, just as you know. So I look at her channel, and she has a video up. And I'm like, one video, and it's called 2 or something like that, like, whatever. And it's a very attractive girl, the same girl in the picture. It's a very attractive girl. She's very pretty, and she's got a very nice little body. And she, like, gets up and does, like, a little titty dance. And I'm like, all right. Like, it kind of has the feel of the soft core part of a cam girl show. You know what I mean? Like, when they're just kind of starting up the show, she's kind of interacting with something, and then she gets up and does a little dance. You know, like, it's kind of like the beginning of the whole thing, and then people start to, you know, give her money, and then she starts to get naked. Like, that's generally how shit works on Chatterbait, stuff like that. So that's what it kind of looked like, and I'm like, is this somehow the like YouTube version of the Facebook blackmail thing. You know what I mean? Like, did these people, whoever it is that made this channel, is this like they found a cam girl, they, you know, recorded a clip of her doing a sexy little dance, and then they've posted it as this YouTube channel to try and get dudes to chat with them. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I kind of think is going on, but there's nothing else on the channel. Like, there's no chat with me on Twitter, there's no here's my Instagram, there's no anything. It's just the one video. And I'm like, again, what is the upside for this person? Because it's not like they're getting a shit ton of subscribers. And it's not like they're getting a shit ton of views. And the comments they're getting range from your basic, oh my god, I'm so in love, to there's children watching. How dare you do this? People should flag this and report this. Right? So you got both ends of the spectrum. You've got totally desperate all the way to fucking angry. Everything in between. A lot of guys going, yeah, no thank you. You know, stuff like that. It's like just people just saying a bunch of random shit. Like, this is just how they're interpreting what is going on here. But, like, I don't understand what's going on here. Like, is this girl actually just straight up doing this? Like, is this a social experiment? Like, what is going on here? So, perhaps, if the girl in question is listening, when you timestamp this shit and write your expletive, your exclamation, whatever it is, can you give me a little bit more description of what the fuck is happening? Are you even watching my videos? Are you a fan? Are you even a real person? Is this just a scam? Like, what's going on? Like, and you could say this in my comment section and it won't fuck up your game. Just to let you know, like, I'll explain to you why. People in my comment section will see it, and we'll just kind of be wiser about the world, and we'll understand what's going on. And we can all say that we're not going to come blow up your fucking spot, because, whatever, man. I don't care. Again, I'll never begrudge people their hustle, just as long, well, I mean, as long as their hustle isn't hurting people. So if you are actually legit trying to blackmail people, I might have to fuck with you a little bit, just because that is fucked up. But you do realize that's fucked up, right? So, but it ain't gonna work on anybody here. My audience is too goddamn savvy, so it's not like I'm gonna be getting into, you know, cutting into your benefit anywhere, because none of my people are gonna give a shit about you anyways. I just do because I'm wondering what the fuck is going on. Like, what is the gag here? Like, I don't know what's happening. And you could be just an honest girl. It's like, I just kind of want to do titty dance things so that maybe I can get a titty dance job someday. Hey, fair enough. If I was a very attractive girl with a very nice body, I've said this a million times. If I was a very attractive girl with a very attractive body, I would be masturbating for a living. And I would be making more money than anybody who decided they wanted to judge me, and that would make me happy about it. I wouldn't give a fuck about your judgment, because I can afford more things than you can. I can just have a better life in whatever way I wish. In another 2 or 3 years, I can decide to retire at the ripe old age of 24, and I can just have whatever life I wish to have at that point. I'll have millions of dollars. My children will want for nothing, and if they ever find out that I was a slut, in your opinion, because I would masturbate on Chatterbait, and that's how I made all of the money for you to be able to get the best schooling that money can buy, and the best of whatever it is that you wish to have, and you will want for nothing. I will be able to feed you, clothe you, house you, take care of you, love you. This is the way that I'm going to love my children, or this is the way I'm going to love my career. You could spin this into, what do I want to do with my life from here? I guess I'll go to college. That's paid for. And, well, once that's paid for, I mean, I'm independently wealthy. I guess I'll go get a job. And if I don't like it, fuck it, I don't need it. Like, fuck you, man. Like, that's an amazing way to live your life. To be able to retire before you're 25. And then do whatever the fuck you want with yourself. How dare anybody judge a girl that does that? And based off of what? Her luck in life? Pfft, okay. Look, it's capitalism. She had a service. There are guys that like to masturbate to attractive women. I didn't make it this way. There are men out there who like to masturbate to attractive women. I happen to be one of them, but I didn't make it this way. I was born this way. How dare you judge me? Right? So, like, she has a service. She is actually particularly suited to satisfy this particular service. She's an attractive girl. And if she chooses to masturbate for a living, well, that's her choice. And if that gives her the opportunity that we all kind of aspire towards, hey, that's great. If I had a daughter, would I want her doing it? Would I want her doing it? Personally, I would rather her mother do it so that she doesn't have to. If I had a daughter and she came up to me one day and said, "Daddy, I don't want you to be upset with me, but I had to tell you something," and I'd go, "Oh God, what?" And if she said, "I got a new job," and I'd go, "Really?" Yeah. See, I watched one of your videos and you gave what I thought was really good advice because I'm a very attractive girl. And I'd go, why did you? I told you never to watch my videos and take my advice. It's not for you. You got to do what I say. And she'd go, "Yeah, but I'm an adult." And I'd go, "Ah!" And then she'd go, I'm masturbating for a living, Daddy." And I'd go, "Well, are you making good money? Did you listen to what I actually said? Are you getting yourself a good 401k? Are you investing? Are you working towards something? Or is your plan to just masturbate for a living and run through the money as soon as it comes in and just hopefully be able to do that forever, because that is not an option?" And if she said, "No, I'm being responsible. I'm investing and doing the whole thing. I'm setting myself up for life," I'd go, "God bless you. I wish I could have done that." And I would honestly say, and I wish your mother would have done that when I suggested it to her so that you didn't have to do this. Anyways, so I don't know what the gag is here. I don't know what's going on. I just wonder if any of you know what's going on. I would love to know what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. And it's not like you can Google what's with the titty bitches on YouTube. Like, like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what's going on, and I want to know what's going on. So, other thing. I talked about my mom and her battle with breast cancer and all of that, and the resultant fallout that became, she's gotten to if I get cancer again, fuck it, then I'll die. Like, she's gotten to that point. And I've talked about my grandma before. She had a lot of things going on with her. She, at one point, got a blood clot in her arm and decided not to say anything to anybody about it for a couple of days. And then that got to the point where essentially her arm died. So she lost her arm, like, above the elbow and everything. I actually don't remember. I think it was her left. I don't even remember which arm it was. She lost her arm up to a certain point. She got into Alzheimer's, dementia, whichever one it was, one of those fucking things. And her like life just kind of went to a net gain of 0. And we would still go visit her, and she would still be there, and it was just like And every couple of weeks, she'd fall and hit her head. Blood would go fucking everywhere because she had to take blood thinners because of the blood clot shit with her arm. And it was just a fucking nightmare. And it's like, at some point, you kind of ask yourself, at what point does suffering get to a point where it's just wrong? And what exactly do you do about that? And it's easy for somebody who's never gone through chemotherapy to encourage somebody else to go through chemotherapy. But if that somebody else has already gone through chemotherapy and they're like, I ain't doing that again, I would rather just die. Who am I to argue? You know what I mean? And if you see somebody in a situation where it's like, this is what their life amounts to, they just kind of stumble around until they fall and almost kill themselves. Like, there was a couple of times where, and my dad watches these videos, and this could be a fucked up thing, but whatever. If he wants to talk with me about it, you see me every Sunday. There were a couple of times where, like, I would hear that Grandma fell and hit her head again. And I'm just thinking to myself, is Grandma trying to kill herself? Like, are we at the point now where this is what she's left with as an option, and she's just fucking tired of it, but she doesn't want to say that outright to anybody because people would be upset, but she's just looking to fucking be done? So is she like, you know what? And just fucking clonking into shit because fuck it. Maybe this time they won't be able to bring me back. You know, because that shit runs through your head. She was very old. She was in her 90s when she died. 94 or 6 or some shit like that. Very old lady. Had a lot of shit going on. And there were lucid moments, but they were getting rarer and rarer and rarer. And, it kept happening over and over again. So it's entirely possible, yeah, she just got really fucking klutzy when she got into her 90s, Go figure. Or could it be she's like, man, I don't have a gun, couldn't probably fucking actually kill myself with it anyways. They're pretty tough you gotta have a degree of strength to use a gun. Most guns, at least. So, it's tough to tie a rope when you got one arm. You know what I mean? There were a lot of times where she was like, I need to take my pills. And no, you've already taken your pills. No, I need to take my pills. And I'm like, well, is that the fucking Alzheimer's talking? Or is that actually her at a lucid moment going, this is my chance, give me my pills? I don't know. You have to kind of question that kind of shit, I think. You have to at least ask the question. You have to wonder. And if it's a sign of somebody trying to fucking off themselves, are they actually saying, look, man, I'm done. Like, I understand you want to keep me around for my full life expectancy, but I should have died 10 years ago. People don't live this long. We shouldn't live this long. And it's getting bad here now. So, let me go. And, that's always kind of been my thing. Like, when I decide that it's time for me to go, I'm done. Like, that's going to be it. Like, I fully believe that you should exhaust all options. If there's a better option out there than offing yourself, you take it. And even if that option is, well, I'm still kind of hale and hearty, I'm just really fucking sad and lonely and I just want to die. Like, if that's really where you're at, wait till tomorrow. And if you're still there tomorrow, keep waiting. Wait another couple of weeks. If that continues to persist for a good 20, 30 years, alright, fine, whatever. But, like, that's the kind of thing that could turn around on a dime. You could be a really happy person tomorrow. Or you could need drugs. I needed drugs. Right? Like, you never know what you're thinking. Exhaust all options. Exhaust all the options. If you have an option for something better, if you can make your life worth living, fucking do it. But if you're literally at the point where you're like, every day I wake up in pain and suffering. I live my life in pain and suffering, and I don't enjoy anything anymore because of all the pain and suffering. Well, look, man. I'm not going to demand you stick around, because that's kind of fucked up. That's like saying, oh my God, I have this bullet wound, and you're like, here, let me help you. And while you're bandaging them up, you're like shoving your fucking thumb into it. Like, fuck you. It's not really helpful. Like, I don't know. Like, I see that shit a lot. Like, I remember when we used to go to, old folks' home to visit grandma. And there was this lady that would sit in this wheelchair in the hallway. And all she would do is just go, help me! Help me! She would just scream, help me. Over and over and over again. And it's like, and I was a little kid. I was barely a teenager. If I even was a teenager at the time. And to go into that setting and see all of these old people that are just miserable and sad looking, and to talk to my grandma who's just miserable and sad looking but happy that we're here, but she knows that shit ain't gonna last. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and so how are things going in the home? And it's, nothing really to do. And it's like, yeah, because this isn't like it's a fucking sorority house, man. It's a shit ton of old people hanging out. Yeah, we had a wild fucking party. I did a keg stand last night. It was great. Like, you're not gonna hear that shit. So, like, hey, fuck it, when we played bingo, oh, that sounds great. Like, I don't know. I grew up seeing miserable old people just living miserable old lives, and then I learned about suicide and how evil and horrible and wrong that is, and I'm like, I don't know, I see a lot of miserable fucking people that are really old, and I'm kind of like, maybe these people just got forgot about. Like, I don't know, maybe that's a test of humanity. At what point do you say, look, I'm done suffering? You know what I mean? Like, is it really a selfish decision in all situations? I would say in any situation where you're like, I'll show them, that's extraordinarily selfish. If you're doing yourself in order to make other people sad and suffer, that ain't right. That's just not right. If you're doing it because you are suffering immensely, first of all, I would say, define your suffering. Let's figure out if there's a solution for your suffering. If there is, then we can alleviate some of your suffering, perhaps even all of it. And then you can have, the normal happy life that most people strive for. Or at the very least, you'll start from a fair footing in order to strive for it like everybody else. You won't have brain chemistry or this, that, or the other thing holding you back. But if you've at a point where you've exhausted all options, this is, because I also kind of grew up during the whole Kevorkian thing, Dr. Kevorkian, with the assisted suicide and stuff like that. So I grew up during that whole time where, like, the conversation was actually had, and I thought that his arguments were compelling. He was working with people that were just living miserable, suffering lives where every second of their lives was just miserable suffering. And I'm like, well, how do you demand that person continue to live? Because you think it's morally wrong on you to let a person who is suffering immensely die? Like, if a horse comes up lame, we shoot it. You know what I mean? We treat animals better than that. So, I don't know. It's just kind of like, you have those conversations. And this all stemmed from one person's comment, because she was talking about her situation with her mother. And, her mother's got health issues. And there are things that her mother does or grandmother has, it's like a mother to her. Her grandmother has health issues. And, she does things which exacerbate her health issues. And this is very distressing to this person because she loves her grandmother. She wants to keep her grandmother around as long as humanly possible because she wants to have that connection. She doesn't want to. She can't wrap her mind around losing that person in her life. And I get that too. You know, when I saw my grandmother, you know, starting to go, I was like, okay, well, we're coming into the end game here. You know, it's time to prepare for a world without grandma. You know, for a world without grandparents. Like, this was my last grandmother. This was my last grandparent. I lost my grandfather before I can even remember. I really don't remember the man very much. My grandmother on that side went next, and then my grandfather went when I was in high school, or just out of high school. I don't remember if I was on the cusp of being in high school. And then, yeah, grandma went a couple years ago. And so this was, you know, it was my last grandma. But you know, you have to distance, like, I got to a point, I wanted to keep my grandma around as long as humanly possible, of course, my grandma. But like, I got to a point where I saw the suffering that was going on, and it started reminding me of all those old suffering people just sitting in the hallways in wheelchairs. And I'm like, it's just no life. It's just no life. Like, I'm not saying let's euthanize everybody in fucking... I'm not saying that. There are some people that are in those homes that, you know, aren't that bad. But it's like, you know, when your life has become relegated to sitting in a wheelchair in a hallway screaming, "Help me." It's like, what are we doing? Like, that's what I'm saying. So, I don't know. I'm not saying this is even a proper solution for this person who left this comment. I'm not saying, you know, well, just wrap your mind around, you know, grandma's going to die. We're all going to die. Let's face the facts. We're all going to die. You know, at some point, you do need to wrap your mind around the reality. But, and I always say better to prepare ahead of time. So, better to start working on that shit now than to wait until it just happens and go, well, I'll just cope with everything at once. You know what I mean? Like, we begin to understand that this is going to happen. And then at that point, you can be more sympathetic to the desires of the person. And you can listen more to the desires of the person. And my grandmother didn't have a lot of people doing that in her life. She had me, but I can only do so much. And she came up to me, I think it was like her 92nd birthday or something like that. She was still fairly alright then. And it was a fairly lucid day. Grandma comes in, it's a birthday party. And we're all there, and I'm going to go say hi to Grandma. So I go over to Grandma, give her a hug, kiss. Say, "Hi, Grandma. Happy birthday." And she goes, "Oh, yeah." And I'm like, "Are you excited?" 92, wow. And she goes, "Yeah, everybody's dead in my life. My parents are dead, my grandparents are dead, my brothers and sisters are all dead." And I'm like, and she goes, "Sometimes I just wonder, you know, if God forgot about me." And I'm like, and I was so, because I was trying to keep everything so up, because I knew that this was, because I knew that she was starting to get off, and I was trying to keep everything up, and man, she just went, "Fuck your little card house, motherfucker." And I was like, well, you know, I'm like, "God didn't forget about you, you still have something important to do." And she goes, "What?" And I'm like, "God, fuck me, I don't know." You know, I'm like, why are you doing this to me? I am not the person with which to do this with, because I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. I guess you're going to have to do something about that. Like, that's when I'm talking to a 92-year-old who's complaining about maybe God forgot about me. I'm sitting here going, well, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm not going to suggest anything that I'm thinking. But I'm thinking it, you know, like, but that was, you know, that was kind of when I made a vow to myself, I will never be like that. Like, if I get to a point where I'm, you know, 80, 85, and I'm starting to not remember who my friends and family are. Yeah, all right, we're at a point now where I think I'm done. Time to clock out. I'm not even really the same person anymore at that point. When I lose my mind, I'm not going to be the same person anymore. And I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but it's certainly something I've considered, and it's a consideration that I believe I've adopted, because I'm like, what good am I going to do for myself or anybody else from the ages of 85 and suffering terribly all the time and whatever fucking age I might hang on till. Like, fuck it, you know. So I don't want any. I would be very, very, very disappointed and upset if somebody decided to twist this into Andy supports suicide. I don't support suicide. I support exhausting all options before you even consider it. I support getting help in whatever way you possibly can. But for people that are extremely old or in extraordinary amounts of pain, you know, like, I'm not going to suggest that's right for everybody. I'm not going to suggest everybody should do it. But I think as a society we have to ask that as a moral question. Is it more moral to keep people alive and suffering terribly than to just give them the sweet release of death? Which is more moral? I mean, I kind of know what I feel about it, but I would love to know what everybody else feels about it. And I should probably put the suicide hotline on this one, just in case anybody's feeling sad. And if you are feeling upset, I'm always here to talk. So, you know, we're all friends here. Alright, fuck it. That got really fucking depressing really quick. Alright, well, tell me about titty bitches, and tell me about your thoughts on I guess, euthanasia. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? This is why I do this shit at the end of videos, because people stop watching 20, 30 minutes ago. Fuck, where am I? Oh, well. People stopped watching like 20 minutes ago anyway, so this is just all you hardcore nuts, and you all get me, so. But if anybody's upset, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. You know, it's not an upsetting topic for everybody. Some people think about it very pragmatically and rationally. Anyways, alright, there you go. Weekend video. Have a good weekend.